Before we cut away to the interview with Mr. Roger Hayden, we want to send a special shout out to our friend Sherry Herman, who, as some people know, was a huge part of getting Dinner with Racers up and going when we first talked about it.
Yeah, Sherry's moved on from Continental Tire, but she's still a supporter of the show, a big close friend of ours, and we just wanted to send her a little love, and you guys should all know that she was a very big part of this happening at all. So a lot of love and respect for Sherry, and wishing her the best with her future endeavors, and take a listen to Roger Lee Hayden. All right. Roger Lee Hayden, rider of the number 95 Suzuki Superbike in the MotoAmerica series, and pretty good describer of the best barbecue place that we've been to. This place
you vouch for this being the best?
Yeah.
It lived up.
Yeah. If you could describe your Dinner with Racers in one word, what would it be?
Interesting.
It's fair.
Press play.
Beep.
And now for Dinner with Racers, presented by
Continental Tire,
with your hosts, Ryan Eversley and Sean Heckman.
Placeholder radio sound. I'm a driver. I'm very angry. This is the sound of a driver on the radio during a race.
What do you think I should
order? Welcome to Dinner with Racers. I'm Ryan Eversley, alongside Sean the producer.
We can go with that for now.
I think that's a good rapper name for you.
Last name Sean, first name producer. No, it's that's all staying in.
And we are currently heading home from a 7-day trip to Indianapolis. Now, in the past, we would do a road trip that would be about 30 days long, giving you about 30 episodes to listen to, and we release them all at once. What we'd like to do from here on out is do shorter trips throughout the year, maybe say a week in Indy, like we just did, or a week in Florida, California, etc., to bring you guys more content throughout the year.
And not kill each other.
Now, like I said, we would normally release 30 episodes. Now we're going to be releasing smaller numbers, but throughout the year periodically. So you should see about 10 episodes coming from our trip recently to Indianapolis.
7 days, 7 nights, 10 different guests, but the first one actually did not start in Indiana.
Now, when we looked at the map going up to Indiana from Atlanta, I saw that we were going to be going by Owensboro, Kentucky. So Sean and I talked about it, and we thought, hey, let's reach out to Roger Hayden, current Suzuki factory rider in the MotoAmerica Superbike series.
Now, Roger Hayden is actually at Dinner with Racers first. He is the first full-time motorcycle rider that we've had, but we call it Racers for a reason because we love all racing competitors, and we've actually wanted to get some motorcycle guys for a while. It just finally worked out that we could make it happen. So if you're not familiar with Roger Hayden, he is one of the best in the American road racing scene for motorcycles. His biggest accomplishment was probably winning the Supersport championship in 2007. But he is an active factory rider for Suzuki. He's ridden in MotoGP. He's won several races in America's premier Superbike series, runner-up in the championship a couple times, and still looking for that big Superbike championship to sort of fill out his career. Also, of course, if you are a motorcycle fan, then you're familiar with the Hayden family in general.
His brother Tommy was a Superbike champ. Obviously, Nicky Hayden was a MotoGP champion as well. And the Hayden family is synonymous with success in motorcycle racing. That kind of starts with their dad, who is a longtime supporter of the sport as well.
So, here are some of the things you're going to learn about Roger Hayden.
You're going to learn about mutilating your arm on purpose so you can stay competitive.
We finally get the story out about one of the self-sung heroes of North American Superbike racing.
Hashtag JRP. We get into our first political discussion on Dinner with Racers.
We do, of course, touch on Nicky Hayden, who did pass last year.
And how little motorcycle riders have to care about PR.
So we started in Owensboro, Kentucky, home of the Hayden family, the Waltrip family, and, of course, the Greens.
And none other than Jeremy Mayfield. We had lunch at the world-famous Moonlite BBQ restaurant, and I had the buffet, which was recommended to me by Mr. Roger Hayden himself, and I ate mutton. And it was fine.
Yeah.
I would eat it again. It was just like barbecue. It was good.
And I had a delightful barbecue chicken sandwich.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the story.
Of course, we couldn't have done this without our support from Acura and my lovely Acura MDX.
But also, we got there on a tire. We got there on a very special tire that's got us there safely through the conditions, good fuel mileage. And what kind of tire was that?
That would be the Continental Tire.
Roger Hayden.
All right, we're going to start in In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hey, man, I'm Ryan. How are you?
Hey, Sean. Nice to meet you, man.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Yeah.
Cool. Put that on.
They claim that Owensboro is the barbecue capital of the
Yeah.
world. I think a lot of people in Texas would probably fight you guys on that one.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
They always want to come here and try it out. I don't know. It's pretty good. You got like mutton and pork and
Yeah.
Yeah.
stuff other places don't have.
I did a whole research on mutton yesterday because I guess mutton
know.
doesn't get a lot of love, but the way they cook it here, they're like, no, you got to eat it. You got to try it because I guess it used to not get cooked the right way when they
Yeah.
served it. But if you cook it properly and you serve it like anything else, it's like eating duck or any other
It is
kind of
what it
meat. It's
is.
just like good meat. Yeah, exactly.
So what is your eating style here? Is it the big buffet thing, or do you do proper menus? What do you do?
I just do the buffet so I can.
So you just grab a plate and go to
Yeah,
town,
I
whatever
just
the
get
hell
like
you
a
want.
salad.
All right. Well, that's how we'll do it then.
what?
I'd get a little bit of the barbecue, but I don't go too
Okay.
heavy.
All right.
Because you're not into it, or you just got to stay light for what you do.
Try to stay light,
Yeah.
especially right now with the summer.
Yeah.
So,
When in terms of this is when it gets the worst.
yeah,
Yeah.
because the heat and all that stuff. Those
Yeah.
leathers get so hot,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
real hot.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
So Owensboro, you'd never know, but Owensboro, it's you and your brothers, the Waltrip family. Jeremy Mayfield is from Owensboro.
The greens.
the greens,
Yeah.
yeah,
There's like a lot of racers out of this
yeah,
town.
especially car racing.
Yeah. Did you know Jeremy Mayfield at all?
Not Jeremy Mayfield, no,
No.
but I know Michael Waltrip a little bit. And
Okay.
Daryl, we did some. Like they used to come here all the time and do like a charity golf
Yeah.
thing, and we
Yeah.
used to go there. And there's actually an Owensboro like star fame downtown.
Okay.
Oh, really?
And the first year was my brothers and like Daryl Waltrip was there and stuff. So
Okay.
that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Are you on the Walk
Yeah,
of Fame? There it
yeah.
is.
Good man.
Nice.
Good
yeah.
man.
Damn right.
So how close do you live to like your brother and your dad?
My dad, I'm neighbors with.
Okay.
Like literally,
Like literally
across
right
the
next
field.
door.
Like literally 1 mile this way.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a decent little
Yeah.
bit. You know, that's
Is
Yeah.
it
that's
far
some
enough that
land.
you can still get away with stuff?
Yeah, like I have dirt bike track.
Okay.
Oh no,
I mean,
that,
like
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And they
like a party. Yeah.
Yeah. That.
that
yeah.
was like I wanted to live there, and I'm like, listen, you have to give me a little bit of,
Yeah.
So they were cool about it just because they wanted me as a neighbor, anyways,
Okay.
not besides somebody else. So
That to look over you, or just because they like being close?
no, to just have one of their kids close.
Fair
so
enough,
it's
fair enough.
literally across the horse field.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
there's like
So
a
still a little bit out of the sight line.
yeah,
All
they
right, good,
can't
good.
definitely see like
You run
inside
around
my
naked.
Yeah,
not
yeah.
that, but
Okay.
they can see if there's a car there overnight or something.
Right.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
So
Where does Tommy live in relation?
and Tommy is about 2 to 3 miles that way,
Okay. Yeah.
and Nicky was actually in between.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's like some church 1.5 miles to the left, and when we
Yeah.
all go cycling, that's just
You just kind of meet up.
we just met
Yeah.
right there.
That's
so
cool.
That's cool. So you can
everybody's
be
pretty
like,
close.
I'm
was
going
gonna-
to Tommy's, then you've done your part, and he'll come back, and then he's
Yeah.
on his way back. That's kind of cool.
So our listeners are, I'd say, all car-based.
Yeah.
You know, you're the first motorcycle rider we've had on the show, so don't let them down. You know, don't let your people down. But one thing about the Haydens that I know, because I was a big fan of your brothers and yourself, is that you guys are super close, and you have the tattoo right on your forearm that says "Family First." Where does that stem from? Is that your dad, your mom? Where does the big family bond come from?
My mom and dad family was always top of the, like when we went racing, it was as a family. Like most kids went camping or baseball tournaments. We went racing.
Mhm.
My 2 sisters actually raced flat track. So it was always family. My mom always, she always cooked. So I think that had a little bit to do with it because us 3 boys weren't really cooked. So,
Yeah.
we always wanted to go to mom's house. And, like you said, I love hanging out with my nieces. That's like the thing I miss most because I go to California for a couple months
Yeah.
out of the winter. And it's kind of a cool feeling. Like I was gone this winter and I was
Where did
gone.
they send you, by the way?
I go to Southern California because the weather
Where at?
gets real bad.
Yeah.
The train.
I mean,
Yeah.
where in Southern California?
Orange, California.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So
Yeah, Orange.
me and my brothers have a house there. We split.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Wow.
But I came home, and I was only home for like a week, and had to go testing at Birmingham. And one of my nieces is like, "How do you can't leave already? You just got home. Why do you think you get to leave again?" So I mean, it's kind of, it's kind of cool that
Yeah.
they feel that way too.
And the guilt is already starting. And
Yeah,
yours.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just stemmed from the family, and it's always. I guess you do go through that stage when I was like 22, I like didn't want nothing to do with my brothers, but like, oh, I got it figured out.
Right.
But then you get to about 30, and it's like, hey, Tommy, hey, Nicky, hey, what should I do? So it's kind of comes in full circle.
Yeah. Were they cool about it, or were they like, all right, figure it out, kid?
No, they're cool about it.
Yeah.
Real cool.
Yeah.
So
they probably knew too.
especially Tommy, me, Nicky, bounce off him. He thinks things through before me, and being the oldest, I guess, because we're kind of like immediately want to do something, and he's like thinks it all out, researches it, and all this.
And he's how much older now?
Tommy is 39, and I'm
Yeah.
34. I'll be 35 and end of this month.
Oh man,
So,
old man
It's
over
coming
here.
in. Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's literally the gap between Ryan and me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we're the same age, but you look like you're like 26. So
Oh, I
Good.
hear it a lot, so I guess hopefully I can keep it
yeah,
up.
good luck.
for a
with
while.
that. Yeah, good luck. I wish you the best. Yeah, hang on to that one. Yeah.
So I got a very, very, very important Owensboro question. We drove through as we were kind of killing time before we got here. There is this giant tower-looking abandoned hotel thing. I think it's called Gabe's Tower.
Gabe's Tower.
What is
Yeah.
that?
Well, it was actually a little before my time, but I think it
how
was
was that old?
one of those hotels that wasn't a very good,
Right. Yeah.
wasn't a
It
very
wasn't
good
the
spot.
best
and
best real estate choice.
Yeah, I think it's a little haunted maybe, and I think if you were in high school, I think it's like after prom where you would go get your room because anybody could get one.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was cheap.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
It's
10 stories,
huge.
12
yeah, you turn the
stories.
corner, you're like, what is that?
Yeah, and Owensboro doesn't seem like a tourist destination to me in the sense that like people don't need it.
Giant
a
hotel.
giant
Yeah,
tower.
yeah, yeah.
Especially that one. If they're
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
come here, they're going to go downtown by the river, which is actually pretty nice now because
Right,
they
yeah.
redid it. But
Cool.
no, I think Gabe's Tower was more,
Because like now it's like half the windows are missing.
oh
and
yeah,
it's like rusty.
oh yeah.
It's
There's
looking
probably
rough.
some homeless people living in there.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can go hang out with them if you want.
So
I
we
guess.
were thinking, Deer Deck had the Fantasy Factory. Obviously, Pastrana has his farm. How about Hayden Tower?
Not there. I think that one might be a little haunted. There's no telling what they're gonna find when they tear it down too. So
there's this whole whenever like a social media site or Facebook, whenever somebody's bored, there's an old argument that are race car drivers really athletes, which is f***ing annoying. But that's race car drivers. I'm looking at your forearms right now.
Yeah, there's no question.
Car driver.
Yeah, there's no
It's
question.
like motorcycle. Like, what do you do to stay fit? Because it is like you're a lot more built than most drivers. Like,
I do a lot of road cycling.
yeah,
That's probably the most thing that I do, and then I go to the gym, but I don't try to get big, like just like more like muscle
Right.
fatigue stuff, because our races they're not as long as like a NASCAR race,
Right.
but you're wrestling.
let's say. I mean, the forces you guys are dealing
you're
with to hang
wrestling
off
a
the
bike
thing.
at
Yeah.
At those speeds, and then you have those leathers on,
Yeah.
so it's like super hot. So that's the main. And then now that I'm getting a little older, I've actually tried to get into yoga,
Yeah, I get that.
but that's a work in progress. So, and I do a lot of dirt bike riding.
Okay.
A lot.
So you're a guy, so more so than gym training per se. You're a guy who just do the work that kind of gets those muscles going.
Yeah.
More so than
because
isolating
it's easier to you try to like mock the same muscles you do on the motorcycle in the
Right.
gym, but it's impossible.
it. Sure.
So mainly, I guess road cycling, just because it's a little easier, on the body and stuff. So that's it, and try to eat clean, which is I'm kind of a foodie, so it's
Well, that's
really
out here. That's gotta be tough.
Yeah.
so it's hard, especially like I said we go eat at my mom's house all the time, and she's not. I mean, she tries to cook healthy, but that's not really the southern.
That's the
Right.
Kentucky
It's
way.
not really the southern way.
You just got married, right? Like real recently?
April 6th.
Yeah.
Oh
So,
wow!
yeah, a couple
Okay.
weeks
And
ago.
he remembers
Thanks.
it so good.
Yeah,
For
remember
now
the
I
date.
do.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You're 1 month in.
coming
Give
up
it time.
on 1 month, and we're still married, so I guess
You're doing fine.
You're doing
better
all right.
than Britney Spears, I guess. So not too bad.
So I know a little bit with road racers. I have to imagine when it comes to single life for motorcycle racers that it's 10 times worse in terms of how you guys behave.
How we pick?
How you behave. Like, are there phone numbers in your phone that are literally just the name of the city?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay.
No.
Okay.
But
But they
they're-
existed.
I don't know if it was the name of the city, but it was definitely not a real name. So
Was it a guy's name?
no.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like boss.
That's
Sal. Yeah.
So yeah, there was definitely time or because we used to have those umbrella girls
Right.
Yeah.
and all that. And it actually wasn't.
That wasn't too cliched for you.
Yeah, I mean when I was younger, yeah, for sure. So, but then once I got older, I got like a little bit more serious, and I don't know, I just kind of got a little bit, not like completely old, but a little bit more
I
old than it
understand.
was like, you know, when you're like 22, like,
Yeah,
where's
everything
everybody going Sunday night? You know,
Yeah,
What are we
yeah.
doing?
yeah, then you get like 30, and they're like, "You going out tonight?" Hell no, man! I got an early flight.
I got a flight. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
right. I got to
exactly.
the airport.
Yeah.
So one of the things I kind of wanted to figure out, because we race on a lot of the same tracks, a lot of the same towns and things like that, but like it's a different world completely. Do you have a go-to spot in Daytona?
You had to go to Hooters one night,
Sure.
Okay.
just to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, people doing burnouts in the parking lot,
right.
cops
Whole-
coming.
yeah,
like,
okay.
Just
It wasn't really there for the food more than like
As much as just this whole scene of
the scene of listening to
ridiculousness.
people talk
Right.
about how their bike's better than this guy,
Yeah,
and
sure.
their burnout, and the whole
Yeah.
thing. So that was always look forward to that.
Right.
All right, so you said something that was very key to me. So during Bike Week, in the days when you guys used to go to Daytona, you'd sit there at Hooters, it'd be like two old guys at a table across, just arguing over who put more money into their bike, whatever. In sports car world, that's a very normal thing that we see with either amateur racers or people who just own kind of exotic sports cars. Cars by nature you can kind of hide behind. You can always spend more money to up your power, to do this or that, or brake kits or body kits or whatever. I'm not a bike rider, but arguably it's a lot harder to hide behind a bike in the sense that like you still gotta
wheel that thing.
you still gotta wheel that thing around. If you had more power, that's putting your life in your hands in really
Yeah.
big ways. Is that as prevalent? Do you see a lot of guys kind of arguing with their wallets more so than
Yes.
it is?
Yeah.
And that's why they now Bike Week people were bringing like portable dynos.
What?
Yeah.
You're like back it
It's
up.
like rolling it in.
Well, not
Yeah.
like the people, but so when they would argue, they just say, "Well,
Prove
let's
it."
prove
Yeah.
it."
Yeah.
You know
But
what
they're
I
not
mean?
like dragging down.
No, they're
down
not
Bill
their own
France Boulevard.
personal one, but
Okay.
somebody else would be like, "Okay, well, come prove it." And then, they would take bets on who had more power and like the
Right.
whole
Right.
Right.
shebang. But yeah, you definitely people spend a lot of money on their bikes,
Yeah.
and they're proud of it. And they
Right.
want
How often do you get advice from guys like that you didn't ask for?
on
Yeah. Yeah, I was noticing up in the corkscrew, you were braking at the 3, and I mean,
Yeah.
Duhamel was at the 2.
I can do that on my bike.
Yeah.
on Instagram a lot. you know,
Shots
and
fired.
Twitter.
You're right.
You know, there I get a lot of
A lot of advice.
advice.
Yeah.
But at the race, not too much there.
That's weird. Weird.
Some-
Face to face. No one says anything.
Some sometimes, they're usually blown away by the speed when
Yeah.
they're there. Like they just like, oh my God, you're going so fast.
Yeah.
But on Instagram, Twitter, I get a lot of advice.
Yeah.
So,
A lot of helpful people.
yeah, a lot of helpful people in there.
So we should probably go back to the beginning of your career, just again, because most of our fans and followers probably don't know much beyond like the stats.
Yeah.
But your dad was, motorcycle guy. Your mom was even raced in the Powder Puff series and stuff like that. Your sisters raced, and basically all the Hayden brothers, as soon as they were old enough to walk, they were old enough to get on a bike. So what was the first thing you started riding and racing?
I started racing flat track. That's what all of us did, and
And again, for those who don't know, flat track is like a short oval dirt,
yeah,
not banked,
some of them were a little banked, but
Right.
not huge banked.
and riding around is more about using the rear wheel to
yeah,
kick out more
sliding.
so than braking. Yeah.
So
You have like a steel toe
Steel
for the
toe
boat.
boot,
Yeah, so you
so,
can put your foot down
so
and
when you
slide
put your
on
foot
it. Stuff.
down, it won't catch. And
Right.
So I just remember in second grade, I wanted to get out of school, and my grades weren't very good. So my parents were like, "Well, if we're going to your brothers are going to this race this weekend. If you can get or a couple weeks, if you can get your grades up, you can go." So I was like, "All right." I got my grades up, went there. cowboy boots, the whole. I was only in second grade.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's how it started. And after that, I was pretty much hooked.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was so much fun. Like some of the best memories is me and my brothers. Like some places we would just go and like camp and all that stuff on the race weekend, and that was I remember like stuff we would like cook for breakfast. Now like looking back when I'm thinking, oh my god, like we would just like there'd be like a skillet and like just everything just went in it.
Yeah,
Right.
What I mean? Whatever you had, everything just
Make it work.
went in it, and so that was like some of the we had our fishing poles and like all this stuff. So that was like
It was as much of a trip as it was a
yeah,
race
as much
weekend.
as a trip, and it was always fun. And
How young could you start?
do what?
How young could you start riding?
I was probably riding when I was 7 or 8, and then my first race I think I was like 9.
Oh wow, you can start that young.
Yeah,
Okay.
just on the amateur stuff, and then
There's like a junior category flat track,
yeah.
so that's kind of the
so they get
equivalent
like the 50 class, 60,
Okay.
80.
So it's a bunch of 10-year-olds and little 50cc.
Yeah. So it's everybody the same age.
Yeah.
So I was, pretty good. Showed a lot of potential. I had 2 brothers, which helped a lot because people already. Well, here's another brother, and then they would
Right.
always. Well, we got one more. So I was already riding for Suzuki then, and then once I turned pro, exactly my 16th birthday, I started. That's when I went professional, and it didn't start out great for me. I struggled a lot early.
Yeah.
But then after a couple years, it really took off.
Now, when you guys are showing up as, the Hayden brothers at like even in the amateur stuff, was it like, oh, here we go again? These kids are going to show up and beat the snot out of us? Or?
I think, yes,
Yeah.
kind of. My dad was the farthest thing from a mini bike dad, but
Well, wait, hang on.
Yeah,
that's the
we
thing.
just took out the same thing.
We
Proceed.
have go-kart dads, which are also kind of like Little League dads, where they can get a little bit more excited about the racing than their kid that's actually participating. Is that what a mini bike dad is?
yes, it's exactly what it is.
His-
Everywhere.
His kid's already going to MotoGP.
Yeah.
And he's done one race.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
It's,
right.
My Tommy's daughter, who's 15, a couple years ago was racing go-karts.
Yeah.
Just around here.
Sure.
And it was already like people didn't want to combine the class because that's like this kid didn't want their kid to get beat by this one, and it was
Oh,
like,
right. Yeah.
Wow.
and I'm like, dude, we're
Okay.
in Owensboro. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, we know
we're
exactly
just
what you mean.
coming, trying to have enough for them to like have a. My dad was spending, tons of money,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so he didn't want us at the races to be,
Get to go pedal around and
acting like a fool. He wanted us to kind of be serious,
Yeah.
kind of try. And then if we got dead last, okay, whatever.
yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
Now,
just,
in second grade, your grades had to be at a certain place to just go hang out. What start junior high, high school when it starts becoming a real serious thing? What was the school requirement for you?
when I was riding for Suzuki, they put in there had to make. I mean, it was pretty easy, a 2.0.
Okay.
So it's just a C,
Yeah. Just get
C
by.
average. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
My parents. I mean, a lot of people were homeschooling,
Yeah. Well, you're traveling so much, it makes sense.
but
When you say put in there, Suzuki had this in there?
yes,
Whoa. So you had a contract at
you're
how
a
old?
factory rider at how old? Yeah.
15.
15. In your contract, you have to have a grade point average of 2.0
Yes.
if you want to keep your
I
job.
don't know if my mom put it in there.
But
or had
still,
put
it was
there.
in a
It was
thing.
in there. But
That's awesome.
regardless, my parents wanted us to graduate high school.
Yeah.
After that, do whatever, but don't.
Yeah.
And now looking back on it, like, I'm extremely thankful for that because, like, my best friends today, like, in my wedding, were the same dudes I was best friends with when I was in high school.
Right.
So I, like, have the whole experience of going to basketball games, football games, going to there's a school, like, 20 minutes from here, 25 minutes in the middle of nowhere, Whitesville. Like, dressing up, like,
Doesn't name
of
the
course
city.
it's a bunch of country people.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
way more than like wearing overalls and all this camo crap, and what I mean, kind of like mocking them and like going there with my everybody
like a
at my
stereotype,
school
yeah.
that
Oh, you're going over there to,
That-
like, get started. Yeah.
when we played them in basketball,
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
and like doing that, going to prom,
Yep.
going to other school dances, like I experienced all that. Where I see a lot of kids who homeschool They don't know nothing
Yeah,
about
no,
it.
I was active in a different sport.
Figure skating.
Figure skating when I was a teenager. Yeah, no, it's real. You wouldn't know.
He
to look
smiled
at-
and he stopped
like,
smiling.
what the
He was
f-
like,
is
oh,
this
wait, I don't
guy?
want to
Yeah.
laugh at him.
No, you can laugh. It's fun. In another time, I was a figure skater, but where I was going with this, a lot of figure skaters were homeschooled because of the practice regimen. And I would argue that they were always like, they could be 16 years old, but they act like they were 12 because they didn't have that high school experience
Sure, yeah.
of growing up in the social environment that provides. And I'm 100% on board with that logic,
Yeah.
that just being around other people your age grows you up a little bit. So,
And also, I think it helps your people skills.
yeah, 100%.
Not everybody's in the same boat, but a lot of times
But like your sense of humor evolves,
Yeah.
and you learn
you can-
terms you never heard.
You can kind of tell when somebody was homeschooled.
100%.
So you're 16, you're riding for Suzuki, and as a factory rider, basically?
Factory supported team.
Factory supported.
But my
Okay.
contract came directly from Suzuki.
Right.
And so I had to start middle of the season because I didn't turn 16 till May 30th.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
not middle of the season, but I missed like
But
the
they were
first.
that supportive that you
Yeah.
could start mid-season. They were cool
Yes.
with it. No.
And so, yeah. And then after that, I went to a Honda supported team for 2 years and then signed with Kawasaki factory team.
So just I'm trying to like put this in sports car terms. So a Suzuki supported team or Honda supported team would be a privately funded team that's getting their equipment and their support, and they're
Yes.
basically providing the rider for free.
Yes,
Like if you're
pretty
on
much.
the customer end of it.
Yeah,
So okay.
pretty much.
So it'd be no different than say customer racing with what we see in GT racing, where they provide a factory
Exactly.
driver to join.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And so then you go to Kawasaki. That's like I'm assuming a bigger salary, a bigger opportunity.
Yes.
What's the first dumb thing you bought when you started making real money?
To be honest, I didn't.
What?
Nothing
no.
dumb?
You can leave this
No.
table right now. You can leave this table right now.
Because there's only one reason. I had a management company, and
They
were
held
like,
it for you?
all the money goes to them.
Mhm.
So, and then you get like this whole weekly report about what came in, what went out, you
Okay.
know, so you know like they're not stealing.
Stealing from you.
Sure.
Okay.
But so if I wanted to go buy a brand new truck,
Yeah.
I would have to say, hey, can you send a check to?
Now, obviously, they're making their cut off of this, but is that in place so that a 16-year-old doesn't do something stupid, or do they have
Not
their own
everybody
interest?
has it,
Okay.
but it was just somebody my parents lined us up with because my dad
Okay.
didn't want to manage this because he didn't want his hands in that.
Sure.
Being a dad, right?
Being a dad,
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean. He didn't want the waters to get muddy somewhere down
Right.
the
Yeah,
line.
absolutely.
So this was at the time probably one of the best. They didn't just take on anybody, but they took a nice percent, and they were kind of strict. I guess not
Okay.
strict, but
And
they weren't easy.
theoretically.
Yeah, right,
you know what I
right,
mean?
right,
Like when you wanted something, you had to kind of.
Now, would that be for their own reasons, or because they're trying to prevent a teenager from outspending
I
himself?
think they're trying to help you realize that you're 6. Back then, I hated it.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
I was
sure.
20.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're taking all this money from me.
21, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm making this. You think you're making way more than you are.
Yeah,
Right.
right,
Because
right,
for
right.
one, you're not thinking about taxes.
Sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you're
exactly.
already, like,
Yep.
thinking you got double the money.
Yeah.
You know, and you think it's
Understood.
going to go forever.
Right.
So it's like, you know, back then I hated them, but now, like, now when I go in for my yearly meeting about, like, where I'm at financially, and I'm just like,
Yeah, right.
you know what I mean? Thank
Yeah.
God I didn't buy that boat and that new truck that, you know,
Had to have at the time.
that I had to have brand new
Yeah.
boat. I wanted a truck. But when I bought my house, I don't even know why I wanted to do this, but I thought, dude, it'd be bad to put some Louis Vuitton carpet in my living room. And then I was just like,
What are you thinking about that for your apartment, Ryan?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
no,
yeah.
yeah. But
And I was just-
mine's a Louis Vuitton.
and I
Spelled
was just thinking,
EWI.
like literally it only took about 2 years later, and I was thinking, what in that, you know, what was that? Not that they technically,
So they steered you away
yeah,
from
they're
the Louis
kinda-
Vuitton carpet?
It couldn't even be done anyways, but
I really looked into it.
but
Well, how many more years do you think you have as a factory or top level guy?
I hope a couple more. But it's like anything else. It's just like it's like car racing. I mean, some people peter out when they're 30.
Mhm.
Then you have one person who's totally different. Like Josh Hayes was competitive all the way up till he was 43.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
We
Miguel
call the guy you're
DeHamel-
talking about Scott Pruitt.
Yeah, we have a
That's-
guy. Yeah, Scott Pruitt just retired from sports car racing.
And he was 85 years old.
He's like 54.
Yeah, something
Yeah,
like that.
but like still winning races.
But
Yeah.
nobody goes till 50s though.
No,
Yeah,
no,
no,
what
right,
you guys
exactly.
are doing. Yeah, no
not
way.
in our sport.
Yeah.
But you have, so it is short.
Because you're technically 34.
I'm 34.
Yeah.
So I'll be 35 in May 30th.
Okay.
And then next
well,
year.
then you can run for president.
That's right.
Yeah.
So,
Getting close.
yeah.
The next year will be like my 20th season.
Wow.
So crazy. Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
you gotta
yeah.
remember, he's 16
Yeah.
years old. Getting,
So that's
Yeah.
going to be kind of, that's kind of a milestone. You know?
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
everybody makes it
absolutely.
in their profession.
I saw an interview with you, and I can't remember your teammate's name at the time, but it's like this guy and the veteran Roger Hayden. I was like, man, he's my age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
You came really close to winning the championship last year, but as far as I know, you still haven't gotten the big one. What's sort of the career milestone you want?
I really want a Superbike championship. I guess
Yeah.
that's, that's my goal. But this year, honestly, has started off as it's just been terrible.
Well, you had a rough weekend just a couple days
Yeah,
ago.
just
so.
this past weekend we didn't get taken out, the first race, and couldn't ride the second one. Crashed out one earlier, so we're already basically, hate to say it, but pretty much out of the points.
Yeah.
So, but there's still a lot to race for. So this year's not looking too good, but yeah, I definitely want to be Superbike champion. That's what you dream of as a kid, and been like chasing it for so many years. So
Now, do you guys use data on the
Yes.
bikes? What
Like
systems do you use? Like
sophisticated.
Magneti Morelli?
Yes.
Or yeah. So your teammate's name is Tony Elias? Is that,
Yes,
am I saying that right?
Elias.
Elias. Do you guys compare data against each other?
Uh-huh.
And so you guys do overlays and,
you can do all of
yeah,
it.
same
Our
stuff
whole
we do.
bike is
Yeah, every sensor on
wheelie
every
control, traction control.
wheelie control. You actually call it that?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I've never heard that
I was
before.
going to say, so when we're looking at data tracings in cars, it's throttle, brake, but it's also steering input, load, things like that. Like, how are you guys measuring,
We have
roll in
lean.
and whatnot? So, go ahead.
They have lean.
Lean.
Oh,
Yeah.
they do? Okay.
Lean GPS where you can see the line.
Yep.
Yeah.
Front wheel speed compared to rear wheel speed.
Right.
Which is big
Brake-
for seeing slide and
yeah.
things like that.
Brake pressure.
Brake
obviously.
pressure. Just anything. Let's put it this way. You're not going to come in and tell your mechanics or your data guy, man, I don't know what happened. I went in there the same speed as
Yeah,
the
no,
guy
they're
before.
gonna know right
gonna be
away.
like,
Yeah.
well, you had 2 degree more lean angle, 2 more bars of brake pressure, and you're 6K faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no,
Right. We use a
Yeah.
lot of the same stuff. It
there's
sounds
no.
like
I was flat in 5.
we don't have wheelie control. I need to know how wheelie control works.
Somehow it knows that
Is it a throttle cut essentially,
Yeah.
or okay?
it chokes it down.
Neat. When it senses like
Yeah.
probably so ride height sensor that
Yep.
triggers it. That's super
That's
cool.
awesome. Yeah.
That's super
So
cool.
and
Can you modulate that?
no,
Like-
but
like
you
in cars, you can modulate
tell
TC.
them like take it off sooner,
Right.
wing
Okay.
it out more,
Yeah,
Okay.
because you don't want
But
them
that's
to
not
just,
an in-dial or on-bike thing. That's something you do.
on my thumb.
Yeah.
I can change like not just that map, but like I can add traction control.
Right.
Right.
during
Just like a
the-
little dial.
Yeah, during the race.
Okay.
So as the tire burns down, you can add some more
yeah.
if you need it or whatever.
You can change the map
Yeah.
and back end control a little bit. You can as the tire slides off, you don't want so much engine braking.
Right.
But a lot of times, once you get in that heat of a race, a lot of times
Oh, forget about it.
You
yeah,
forget about
yeah,
it.
yeah, Yep. Or you're like not sure it's really gonna make the difference.
Yeah.
You're like, I'll just deal with what I have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a lot of the same systems on the NSX that I race. How many times would you say in a race you're making adjustments at all?
usually
Minimal. Like you got it
Minimal.
kind of set at that
you
point.
kind of got it
Yeah,
set, and you
yeah.
just don't. And like when you go talking about like the wheelie control, you don't want so much where the bike doesn't move. Period, because then you're going too slow.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You got to
want
be on the limit.
half inch. Like my data guys get this picture on his screen of when I was at Pittsburgh. There was like this huge, like a little bit of a roller, and every bike wheelied. But you could tell like I was still like full stick, tucked in, and my front wheel was like only that high off the ground.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
he's
So
like,
it's working perfectly.
and he's like, like.
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah,
I did
we're
that.
we're
Yeah,
gonna be
it's
okay.
me,
We're gonna
you
be
know.
okay here. Yeah.
So it's kind of cool, but that's It's getting huge.
Yeah.
I mean, just like
technology
cars, I'm
side.
sure, but
Yeah.
you know,
So is that from like the fan perspective? Is that getting out of hand? Are people getting more and more upset that you don't? It's
not-
the rider's not in it anymore. Like
Yeah,
it's
'cause
a
like
big
some,
thing in racing.
some people do argue that, especially in MotoGP.
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
They don't
Because they're heavy into the
spin,
electronics
yeah.
now, right? Yeah.
They don't spin. They don't do this. They don't do that. And just as much as electronics can help you, there's people who buy these super expensive electronic systems and this and that, but they can't get it to work.
Yeah, they don't have the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they went 10 steps backwards.
So one of the things that we hear a lot on our side is like, it's better when we had to shift gears and actually have a actual clutch and thing like that. Is that a thing in motorcycle racing as well? Like where an old Matt Mladen, for example, would be like, oh, back in my day we had to blip shift.
Crikey.
Yeah, it was pretty. They had a lot of stuff, but even us, like, we can't control the back shift
Right.
completely.
Okay.
But they can tell you, like, hey, spread your back shifts out a little bit.
Mhm.
So, they are different. But there is a lot of guys that said now that riders just sit on there.
Yeah, you don't do anything.
You know what I mean? Like we're watching a movie on our, dash.
Yeah.
The bike still slides a little bit.
I watched an onboard of you at Laguna, and I was blown away by the amount of TC you guys are dealing with, like all the way up the front straightaway,
Yeah.
past start finish even. You can hear it intervention. I
Because
was
it's
like,
trying to wheelie
yeah. It's
out of that
Okay.
last corner.
So that's all. Now, are you putting all your weight into the front end during that kind of time? I know nothing
That
about how this
and
works.
rear brake.
yeah,
Okay.
But now, though, as electronics are getting better,
sure.
and you have to trust electronics.
Yeah.
That's like
yeah.
the biggest thing.
Do you
like-
guys use ABS?
No.
Yeah, so we do, and when that doesn't work, it's too late.
Yeah.
Because you're at the limit of where you could
The
brake.
bikes have it, but we don't
Yeah,
like the
trust it.
the
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So you
Yeah.
could run it, but it's
Yeah.
Well,
better
you're
not
also
to.
like you're modulating, I assume, every corner as to how much
Yes.
rear you want versus front and whatnot.
every
So,
corner.
Yeah.
And also now in our with our electronics, I don't know if you can do it in a car. We do it turn by turn.
Oh, well, you can, but a lot of series don't allow it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about simulators? So like car guys, there's I mean even just there's commercially available stuff that we can do just at home. The factories have bigger systems, but it's easy. It's a car. It's a fairly minimal amount of rotation. Is there such a thing for you guys?
We don't have it.
Yeah.
There's
I mean,
there's ones that people have for like
I did
games.
some stuff on PlayStation. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. People actually like when they go to Europe, they use PlayStation to learn a track.
Sure.
That actually makes sense.
Yeah.
So they just do.
But that's just to learn the track.
Learn
You're
the
not going to
track.
get
Yeah,
any
you're not
more
gonna-
value out of
Yeah,
it.
just know which
But
way to
no, we
turn.
don't have like. I know a lot of NASCAR guys. They
Yeah.
go and do a race before the race
Yeah.
in their simulator.
Yeah.
We don't have
There's
it.
just no
Yeah.
way to recreate
No
those
way.
forces. Yeah.
That's really interesting. So, how many bikes on average are in MotoAmerica in your class right now?
We have 16 guys.
Okay, and is it capped or could more people?
Could
Okay.
be more.
How many races a year or events, I should say?
10.
10 and double headers.
Double
So
headers.
it's basically like a world challenge kind of thing.
Sounds
Yeah.
good. So a factory team in motorcycle, especially at the top level, I get why they're involved. The private guys, who are basically customer teams who are buying Suzuki parts and running their own team, in the sports car especially, it's very easy for sort of a 40-something-year-old guy, made his money doing whatever else. Now he wants to become a sports car driver. He can kind of find a co-driver and kind of slip in pretty easily. It's a lot harder to do that when you're a one-man show and it's motorcycle racing, which is
Physically demanding.
and
Yeah.
sketchy as all hell. So I would assume a lot of the privateer guys are doing it just because they love it. Why would somebody come in and make their own team to be a private deal? Like what is motivation for a lot of the guys that you meet out there?
A lot of them, it's a passion for most of them because
Yeah.
they're spending,
Even though they're not riding.
yeah,
Yeah.
even though they're spending, they're so much money
A
for
lot of
nothing.
money. Yeah.
A lot of it is they have the money,
Right.
They
wanna go
It's a
do it.
rich man's game. That's
sure.
one thing where our series, where the economy really hit motorcycles big time.
For sure.
Bigger
Well,
than-
and that's kind of like sports car racing. The guy gets to at least drive most of the time. I mean, we'd see a few exceptions, but as the sport becomes more expensive, it becomes a harder thing to justify when it really is just having fun.
Yeah.
So it's got to be tough.
And most teams, and MotoAmerica, they're not like creating a team just so I want to ride this weekend.
Yeah.
Next week I'll put so-and-so on the bike. You usually put that guy on the bike for the whole year. And it's kind of a new generation now. A lot of people are coming into these teams and buying a ride.
Weird.
That's
okay.
quite common.
Well, yeah, but ride buying and what we do is not a rare thing.
It's been around
It's been
for a
long
while.
time.
Yeah. So I guess it's been the last, ever since the economy hit, I think. Now,
So like 08 kind of
yeah,
deal. You've seen
now
a lot of.
most teams.
So you're basically seeing guys who maybe, I don't want to say don't belong there, but guys who don't have the results or the experience to back it up, and they're buying their way
Yeah.
in. It's very common in what we do.
Yeah.
So,
And it's kind of, a lot of times they're paying so much money, they're really paying for the other guy too.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's similar.
That's just part of the deal.
Yeah.
So
We do the same thing.
Yeah.
it's
We do the same
difficult.
And like a guy like you, you're up front, you're lapping these guys. You don't want to mother F them because
What?
you don't want to mother
Did you just censor yourself?
Yeah, I did. I don't know why. We bleep these things. You don't want to motherfuck these guys because they're paying to be there, and obviously you don't want to. But at the same time, they either don't belong there or they're getting in your way and they're screwing your deal up. I assume that's kind of a challenge.
You've never been on that side of like just want to do it for a hobby and have fun.
Right.
They've never been
especially
on.
you.
They've never been on our side.
Right.
But I'm just like, dude, I would hate to spend my whole weekend just people hacking me up.
Yeah.
Stuffing me on the inside,
Right.
outside.
Like probably looking in the
doing
mirror
it,
more in
you
front
know.
of you.
You know, so it's like, but you kind of you need those people too because
Exactly right.
you know they're spending a lot of money
And they might be keeping some future you out
Yeah,
there too. There's
exactly.
probably some 16-year-old
Right.
whose balance is getting paid because
Yeah.
of that. So
But you know, some of those guys, like, I don't mind when they're like trying and they like hold me up, okay, whatever. But the guys who like are just out there just toiling around and just like
I was holding my line. I don't know.
yeah, just like pull out of the pits straight into the racing line, and you know, and it's just like that's when
That can
I'm
people
not
get
as,
hurt.
that's when I'm not as for understanding.
Yeah. Should we?
Yeah.
We're doing
I think
it.
we have to.
We have to. Okay, so we were watching a bunch of videos on the drive up. we discovered an ALS ice bucket challenge. Yeah, I don't know if you remember that whole thing several years ago. You were called out to do one. I don't know if you remember. You did one, and then you named 3 other people. You were called out by one of my favorite people in the world for all the wrong reasons.
Hang on. Do you know who it was?
I'm not sure.
Oh, good.
Oh, here we go. None other than Mr. JRP, Johnny Rock Page.
Oh my god.
So you didn't do it? You didn't do the ice bucket challenge?
Did you even know he
Did you know he called you out?
I didn't know he
That-
did, but I did do it.
He put out a tweet that had like 5 likes. So
Well, hang on. So okay, so I never heard of this guy before until he showed me last year.
yeah,
Was that on
the
the
same
trip?
trip. It was on the trip. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with this guy.
Yeah.
For all the wrong
I didn't know this
reasons.
was a thing.
Yeah.
I was
And-
entertained.
But yeah, this type of guy is very common in sports
Oh,
cars.
yeah.
So like
Yeah.
I was very proud when I found that there's a motorcycle equivalent.
Yeah, no,
So,
we actually know this exact
know
guy
yeah.
in another, in road racing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've been joking around about this guy for a while, and on the drive up today, we were like, oh my God, we got to get the lowdown. You
On
know, like
Johnny Rock Page.
what's the deal here
Yeah,
with
yeah.
this guy? And then we found this ALS video, and you're the guy he called out, and we're like, oh no, what if they're like friends?
buddies.
He's like,
No.
no, that's my guy. So thank God.
Yeah. So just to explain, Johnny Rock Page, if you're a sports car fan, is that prototypical wealthy kid that comes in with film crews and and saying he's a big deal even though he's like third to last on any given race, but telling everybody he's a big pro. So in other words, he wrote a check, and now as far as anybody's concerned, he is a pro motorcycle racer. I love how he's staying quiet. It's like, yep, don't know what you mean.
No, he definitely. You're right. He had the film crew on
Yeah,
on TV show, and on top of that, was running for president of the United States.
Yep,
so,
that we just saw. If you YouTube Johnny Rock Page, like there's a 2016
Yeah.
he was running, and it's one of these things where rather than hire one plane to run the banner,
right.
why hire one when you can hire 3 for 3 times the price?
You gotta get the votes.
Yeah,
Gotta get the vote. Would you vote for Johnny Rock Page?
Not a chance. 0.
Hundreds of other people didn't either.
yeah. It's got quite the YouTube presence. There's at least 500 views.
So, like, in terms of a guy like that coming in and paying to, self-sponsor him, his program,
Yeah.
what do you think, like, guys would pay to run?
for us on average is 100 to 150,000.
Oh, okay.
What, for a year?
For a year, not for full blown factory Superbike, because they don't really
They're never
giving
giving
that
the
away.
full factory.
they don't do that. But like other teams, I would say on average is 100, 150.
Okay, and you said one kid came in and spent like $750.
Yeah.
And you what I like is you told us that kind of off the air with wide eyes. Like, can you believe this guy spent $750,000?
So the slowest class of the top class of sports car racing in North America is called GT3 or GTD for Daytona. That's a 10 to 12 race series.
Yeah.
A 24-hour race, a 12-hour race, 6-hour and a 10-hour, and then a couple of shorter races. And those are for the year about $3 million.
Yeah. Or higher.
Really?
No joke.
Yeah. That's for the lowest class.
Yeah. And that would be, in your world, that would be like the support program that a young 16-year-old version of you would have been put onto. And those are $3 million plus. So it was just when you looked at us with these bright eyes, like $750,000. Like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and admittedly, our cars are
Way expensive.
400K or higher.
And long races do add a lot of cost.
Yeah,
you know.
for sure. But like even World Challenge is almost around $1 million
About $1 million
now.
bucks, and those are all. That's like almost the exact same schedule you run. 2 races a weekend. They're hour max.
Yeah, in the GT3 spec.
In the GT, yeah. Right.
Sure. No, that makes sense.
But that's like a factory.
But that's the full.
Yeah.
Yeah, the full kit. So back to the Johnny Rock page type. So like a guy like that puts videos all over YouTube, being the big rock star. Do guys like you go back to the trailer and debrief and like, all right, work is over. Let's watch some more videos and just sit there and giggle to each other like a bunch of schoolgirls?
Sometimes.
Yeah, good man. All right.
He's like, we're human beings. Of course we do.
When was it? The last test? I think it was the last year old, but like he showed these videos of like him seeing his bike for the first time and like, you know, what was it? Oh, he was sleeping in his, he was acting like he was sleeping in his motorhome.
Johnny Rock page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was really sleeping in the, like the rider's lounge of the semi.
Of that truck.
Oh, so in other words, this was like a rehearsed scene to show like what his life was like.
Yeah, kind of like.
Just
but
waking
he,
up
like,
here in the Prevost.
Yeah, like waking up in the, I don't know if I don't know what he was calling, but making it out sound like, you know, a big nice motorhome.
Right.
You know, and there was a front of there.
He's living large,
This is
man.
the driver's lounge.
He's a big deal. Just ask him.
So how many, on a proverbial level, how many Johnny Rock pages exist? Like, is there 1 or 2 every year? Not so much guys who come in with funding.
He
because
seems like he's the
that's what I'm saying.
extreme, yeah.
I'm not talking about funded riders. I'm talking about the guy who's finishing 20th, but he's trying to like fund his own reality show to talk about how awesome he is.
We don't have a ton of that.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
we have a couple.
That's probably because it's so damn scary.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
to say,
You know
what I
like
mean?
you can't
Like,
hide behind,
but-
and you can't hide behind the co-driver.
Right, yeah. Because
So-
go ahead.
Johnny Rock, a couple, probably 10 years ago, was trying to film a TV show
Yeah.
and like got in the way of the race.
So this is a famous incident. So yeah.
But
So
probably not
it's-
for our listeners.
Yeah. So Mid Ohio.
Yep.
Hayes, I think, was leading,
No, it was.
or Spies. No.
I think it was. I know Aaron Yates was involved.
Oh yeah, it was Yates and I want to say it was Hayes, but maybe I'm wrong. But anyway,
Maybe.
But the series at the time hadn't had. I think it was AMA actually at the time. They hadn't had a lot of real close battles for the lead
Yes.
during that year, and so there's like 2 laps to go, and these two are duking it out, and one guy's ready to go, and then they come up against JRP, and he's holding his line. I'll let you tell the story, I guess.
Well, we have just like any series, blue flags, but
Right.
to him they don't exist.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
You didn't see him.
So he screwed up the race, you know, got in the way. The dude pulled a couple second gap, and that was the end of the race.
Yeah, and so what was looking like it was going to be a hell of a nail-biting finish
Yeah.
becomes a 2-second gap and nothing to watch.
Yeah, and then nothing to watch. But so of course he was getting in trouble.
Yeah, so but meanwhile he's shooting a reality TV, so
Yeah.
so they mic him up
Yeah.
for tech, right?
Yeah.
So he gets called to the steward's office. I'll let
And-
you finish the story.
and he's mic'd up, got a camera somewhere where they can.
Yeah,
like,
kind of in a distance where the officials don't know that they're
Yeah,
being
not
filmed,
really.
and they don't realize he's being mic'd.
Yeah, because it was long enough to where people didn't realize that
Yeah.
you're going to zoom in from a mile away. with
Yeah,
a
well,
good
this is
camera.
like 07, 08,
Yeah.
something like that, where you didn't expect that there was a camera everywhere you went. So.
But he was mic'd up, and this steward's just going off on him, like just
Just like,
up.
you're not the show.
You're not the
If
show.
the leaders are coming, you give them room.
Right.
Yeah, like-
right.
like he should have, but really you can't do because you're
You got to be professional.
you gotta be should
Yeah.
have been more professional.
And if he's paying,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
a customer.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
then of course he releases the video,
Of him
the
getting yelled at.
audio,
Yeah,
of the
right.
dude chewing him out, telling him he's not
'Cause
the show.
in his
Yeah.
defense the whole time, I was like, I was holding my line, dude. Bro, holding my line. I was holding my line, bro.
Oh,
Bro, I was
yeah.
holding my line.
and
And,
that steward like got suspended and like
Yeah.
the whole,
yes. Yeah.
you know what I mean? But you could tell like afterwards, he totally baited the
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there was always people having like problems with him, but
Yeah, I would have.
nobody would ever really say much because they never knew if he was
Being
mic'd up
filmed.
or
I
not.
would
I
have.
was about to say, so are you keeping your distance because you don't want to end up as some other YouTube release where you become the asshole?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, just because sponsors don't,
For sure,
especially
yeah.
if you really like,
Yeah, I mean, you're like a factory
You have
Suzuki
something
guy
to
or
lose.
whoever
he's
you're
like
with.
really laid into him and
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
some stuff that you normally.
I'd buy a Suzuki bike if you did that.
Yeah.
Actually, I'd go the other way. I'm like, yeah, justice is served. Where do I sign?
You know, there's honest to God, there's a story sometime that at Mid Ohio, different year, he wasn't going fast enough to qualify.
Oh yeah.
That he came into pits during qualifying, walked in his motorhome. He had a motorhome at this time. This is when I guess things were good.
You're right.
And somebody else came at. Now I didn't witness it,
And he's like a dude in his 40s.
Yeah.
Pretending like he's 22.
but some other dude came out, got on his bike.
What?
Yeah, and
Well, like he went in like, I'm going to put in my helmet over here
well,
and comes out.
nobody watches when you go back.
Oh my God.
No.
And supposedly like went fast enough to qualify for the the race.
Right.
Some guy in his suit and helmet.
Yeah.
Legend has it. Legend has it. Wow.
Wow.
That is a new level of low.
That is a new level of
So
awesome.
I'm not.
Now that's
I didn't-
hearsay.
That's
hearsay.
hearsay, but-
Roger Hayden said that's
Roger
exactly
Hayden
what
is- That is not an official claim,
But
but holy
but that, if true, awesome.
the balls.
that's just the level.
yeah.
And then I don't know.
Yeah.
He would have airplanes with his own
Like at the track.
at the air track. Like
It's like there'd be like a
Okay.
banner going,
Yeah.
"Go Johnny Rock Page!"
no, vote for Johnny Rock Page.
Even in those days, to run for president.
Yeah, he ran before the campaign. we
before the
saw.
campaign we
yeah.
saw.
Oh yeah, he
Yeah.
ran a
Very
couple
well done.
times.
Yeah.
So
I
I don't
wanna
know
run
if back then if you had the president stuff, but I'm talking like 2 years after that, maybe it was
Yeah.
like vote
That's
for
cool.
Johnny Rock, we're the people, and just not
So,
even
like-
on race weekends, like just on a
Just what he
normal
does.
weekend at
Yeah.
like Newport Beach.
Right. That's
He
what we
just-
saw. Yeah.
He
He's
wanted
like,
so hard to be somebody.
right. Okay. So one of the things we wanted to ask you, you raced for Michael Jordan. Any awesome Michael Jordan stories or not so awesome Michael Jordan stories?
No, not.
Oh, there's a grin like I can't.
No, there's just.
Like I read an article about that it was kind of like not really destined to be a good program. It was more of like he wanted to just be a part of something like motorcycles and wanted to be involved. But
If he would have spent a little more money,
Right.
it would have helped us a lot. But he did do a lot for our team. And when I did, I didn't meet him a ton. But when you did talk to him, dude, super nice guy.
Yeah.
But I just cannot imagine living his life.
oh god,
So there wasn't like, "Hey, bro, it's Saturday night, let's go." There was none of
No.
that
you
with
guys
him.
didn't like take the
Aw.
private jet
No.
somewhere. No.
Yeah, Atlantic City.
No, but he did call me one after I won Homestead, Miami. Of course, I mean, who's got Michael Jordan's phone number in their phone? You know
That's
what I
cool.
mean? So it was this
And
dude-
now we do.
and this dude's calling me. Oh, I didn't even save the number because I'm sure it's his buddy's number.
Yeah,
or
sure,
something,
sure,
you know
sure.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
The one phone he turns on every
Yeah.
6
Yeah,
months.
the burner.
phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, "Hey man, good job today, blah blah." I'm like, "Who is this?" You know what I mean? He's like, "It's MJ." And then all of a
So
sudden,
wait, he would call himself MJ.
yeah, and then it's all of a sudden it's like, "Oh, hey, what's up, man?" Trying to be all cool, and then
He's like, nah,
Yeah,
we're
too
done.
late.
and then I'm like, I'm trying to rush him off the phone because
You don't want to take his time.
I don't want to be that guy where it's like, "Oh my god."
I have so many questions for you.
Right,
You know what
yeah,
I
it was
mean?
like, okay,
oh,
kid, I was just
so I'm
calling
like,
to
"All
say-"
right, dude, well, I gotta go. Thanks for the call. And then I get off and I'm like, idiot. Oh my god. So, but he would come around. He was cool.
Yeah.
He wanted to win. Ain't no doubt about that. At that time though, you couldn't buy a factory bike.
Mhm.
So if you could buy a factory bike,
Yeah. It was a big jump start for you.
he would have bought the
Right.
the
Yeah,
factory
he wanted
bike
the best stuff
and
he
the
could.
bells and whistles.
Right.
Yeah.
And he, but the dude just can't go nowhere.
Right.
I mean, team of security everywhere you go.
Yeah,
you
he's
know,
going to
it's
get
just-
mobbed.
I
And
don't
he
know,
kind of
just-
stands
right.
out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's just I don't know if I would enjoy
That level of fame.
that level of,
yeah. Not many
you know what I
people
mean? Like you
will ever
can't
have
go.
that. Anywhere.
You're not going to come here.
Yeah.
You know, like this.
No.
You can't go to the grocery.
We tried to get him. He shot us
Yeah.
down. No.
You couldn't go to the mall. Never been to the grocery. Like, you
Right.
just can't.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't mind the private
He
plane.
does have
everywhere.
He does have
Yeah.
a G5. Probably has a G6 now.
Yeah.
But his tail number is MJ2323 because Lee Davis is parks his plane next to that one,
Oh, really?
and it's blue and white like his alma mater colors.
Okay,
from North
makes
Carolina. Yeah. Like we pulled up next to it, and he's like, "You know whose plane that is?" And it's got the Jumpman on the tail. I was like,
Let me
"Yeah, I
guess.
think I figured it out." Yeah. Out of your brothers, who was and you included here, who was the crazy one in their heyday?
And again, statute of limitations. You're in your 30s now.
Yeah.
This could be 10
I
years
don't
ago
know.
before you met Dan.
Nicky was pretty crazy, but he was he didn't drink.
Okay.
Okay.
But you would have thought,
The way he acted.
yeah,
Yeah.
like sometimes, like some
All
people
right.
be like, I
One
mean,
good
one
story.
time we went to Western Kentucky to like Thursday night, college night, whatever it is, and he was like, all this traffic going on, and he's out there like guiding traffic, and like everybo's like, and
I got this.
everybody's like listening to him, and then he does like
Just starts doing this.
does this, and like two cars like into each other, and it was just, you know, and we have like this big bus that we're all on, and everybody's just laughing, and when he gets on there, some girl's like, dude, you're gonna feel like shit tomorrow, you know, because she thinks he's just
hammered.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I probably will, you know. It was just funny.
Go
'cause
with
he was-
it.
Going with it.
yeah, because he was just stone cold sober. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, he was always like that. He was always goofing off.
Yeah. Obviously, of the three of you, he was the kind of the guy that did most of the international racing. You guys have very distinctive Kentucky accents. I don't know if that's offensive or not, but you do. Was he proud of that in the sense of like, I'd love press conferences where it's like the Americans on the podium and he's got the biggest Kentucky drawl. You know, like I love that. That is an
Yeah,
Americana
especially
to
sitting
me.
next to like Marquez or
Yeah,
or Rossi
exactly.
or something.
No, he was
Yeah.
he liked it.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't try to. Some guys go over there and they try to create, you know, like a broken Spanish accent or
Yeah,
like,
they try to sort of
you
become
know,
European.
Yeah.
people come over here to race in the U.S. and they try to talk American. Like he never.
Put a cowboy hat on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he never.
He just embraced where he was
Yeah, he
from.
just embraced where he was at, and it was just the way it was.
Yeah. I get that. We read an article, last August where, especially after things happened, it was almost as if you couldn't go anywhere without fans, well-intentioned, but saying things like, I'm sorry and all that. At a certain point, like, you can only hear that so many times before. Frustrating is probably the wrong word, but you're sort of like, I get it. You mean well, but I want to get back to what I'm doing. And what's that like for somebody like you?
I am, like, really at that point when I'm at the race, because
Yeah.
it's still,
You're there to work.
yeah, and it's still, it hasn't really slowed down.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, I don't know, it's hard to ever move on when, and you know what, I get it. People
They mean
loved
well.
him, they
Yeah.
mean well, but I don't want to hear your favorite Nicky Hayden story on my race weekend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or show me 50 pictures that you took of him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, I'm like, here to work. I mean, I appreciate it. It's a nice gesture, but
Yeah.
it's
Wrong place, wrong time.
wrong place, wrong time. I don't know. It's just always everybody wants to show me, their. I don't know. I don't want somebody to take offense to it, but somebody, hey man, look this tattoo I got, and it's like, okay, it's my brother. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like.
And you got to put on the good face.
Yeah, and it's like, sometimes like people want to like, oh man, like want to like really go into detail, like
Yeah.
what he meant, and it's like, I'm like, dude, like, you don't want to be a jackass and like be mean, but it's like, dude, I don't talk about that.
Yeah, no kidding.
So you kind of, on one hand, like, it's because people loved him. People love her family, and they're like, want to. I tell you what, one of the greatest things was this weekend in Virginia. Some fan, I was downloading my data guide, and some fan was sticking around forever in front of my bike. And I walked over there, and he's just like, just gave me this right here, said, I just want to come over and pay my respect. Fist bump, he turned around, and he walked off.
Okay.
I'm like, okay,
that's cool.
that's
It's not some crazy thing where you have to put on a show.
Yeah, let's not get into detail about how much he meant to you and like this whole thing. I mean, it was race week, and so that was cool, and I understand that it's part of it. And but you know, we do a fan walk every week, every race for an hour. Yeah, like probably 2 hours before my race because there's one afterwards. But like people are just, that's what they want to talk about.
Yeah, but and that's where I'm kind of going. It's like that's gotta be tough.
Yeah, it gets old.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
But is that because it's time to work, or is it because it's an emotional thing and it's time to work? Like, what happened if you were at like a fan signing like tomorrow on a random Thursday?
I don't mind it, but like, don't like just if they keep it short and sweet. Like this guy at Austin wanted to like literally talk about it for like 10 minutes. Like, show me all these pictures he took and, like, his collection of this. And it's like, I mean, like, I don't know what you want me to, like, what do you want me to do about it? You know, so it's like, I get it. People want to show, people don't know what to do. Like, one of my best buddies that I trained with, Jake Lewis's dad, passed away last week. And it's like, okay, I want to, like, hey, dude, you need anything?
You want to be helpful, but you also don't want to be a burden.
Yeah, but you know what I mean?
But yet at a certain point, there needs to be
but you don't know,
let him do his thing.
Yeah.
You know, you don't
people
know.
People are different on everything.
The dude probably don't know there was already 10 people before him.
Right, yeah.
You know,
Right.
You know, it's just people want to do what's right, but, you know,
We just did a thing about Alan Kowicki. We did a documentary on him in a podcast series, and one of the things we found, not necessarily from our guests, from people that we talked to that had stories about people, is that when a celebrity passes, a lot of people like to attach themselves to that person, whether they knew him or not, and they want to be a part of it. And
we met a lot of best friends who,
not
as we
necessarily,
got to get into their stories, realized, they barely knew the guy.
Yeah, we talked to like an actual best friend of his who was like, no, that's not a person. That's not a person. That's just some fan.
Yeah.
That's just something. And we were like, wow, that's got to happen anytime somebody of notoriety passes unexpectedly, because we're seeing it on this trip we did for this documentary. So I imagine you're going to have that as well.
Yeah, especially like people you see, like they'll tag me in like a photo they posted of, you know, Nicky or something else. I'm like, dude, I'm not even, like, where am I at? Like,
I'm not in the photo.
I'm not in the photo.
Yeah.
But, and it's always my good friend. Oh my God, you know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And
Some people tell me like the stories about, hey, this one time I want to tell you this Nicky Hayden story. We were so and so, and I'm like, dude, Nicky ain't ever been there.
Yeah, right.
Like,
yeah. We had somebody tell us that Alan Kowicki never drank in his life, and then we have pictures of him with like 2 drinks in his hand, wearing a motorcycle helmet in a bar, and you're like, I thought he didn't. Yeah.
People are always doing their posts like they're, I don't know, it's almost like they want a reaction or something.
Right.
It was okay. The only thing that really bothered me in the beginning was people tagging me in like stuff I don't want to see.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
Of the accident.
A lot of like stuff from Italy.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
like
Yeah.
the stuff from the accident.
That's not cool.
Jesus.
You know,
Like a news clipping or something.
Yeah, news clipping.
Yeah,
there was just one couple weeks ago. Somebody tagged me on Facebook about something in Italian, and I'm like, dude, I don't like.
Why would you even do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like right of the car wreck. Like I want to see the. I don't have any desire to ever see the car or anything. I mean, I know it's out there.
You know what happened.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't need it.
Yeah, I know it's there, and then like some people would write and like I don't even know, and be like, so update me on your brother. I'm like, dude.
I got
I
bigger things to worry about.
And the thing
right
is,
now, man.
my dad had a heart attack that week too.
Oh Jesus!
Like 2 days later.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so
Okay.
like broken heart syndrome's like a real thing.
That's a real thing. Yeah.
Didn't know that.
God.
So like,
Yeah.
one's in the hospital in Italy, one's in the hospital here in Owensboro, and it's just like,
And
then all these people were like wanting all these
trying to get you
updates.
for
Yeah.
media this and that.
Yeah, like minute by minute updates, and it's just like that's like the thing with Jake. Like, you know, you want to let the guy breathe, but at the same time, but I mean, people don't know that my dad was in the hospital at the same time. I'm not like.
No, but at the same time, you kind of leave somebody alone.
Yeah.
So that because you don't know what's going on. Something like Nicky's accident is in a faraway country, and I don't know what is the information like coming through when things started happening.
There wasn't a lot.
Right.
And actually, I was in Pittsburgh when it happened, testing.
Okay.
And my brother Tommy was calling me. And he knows I'm testing.
So you're out on track, so your phone is just missed call.
No, it was right before, like as I was like getting ready.
Okay.
He knows I'm testing. He's calling me. I know something like, and my dad hasn't been in the best health. I thought my dad passed away.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was just what I thought. Because if it was something like minor, he would say, "Hey, just text me when you get a minute."
Right.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
So,
When my mom calls me now, I'm like, no, why?
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah.
Text me. Yeah.
And then it was just like, you know, like
And what was the information at that time?
that he had the bicycle wreck, and we knew from day one that
It was as bad as it was. Yeah.
So
Okay.
it wasn't like,
It wasn't this like 5 days of how's it
he's
gonna
gonna
end?
make it. He's gonna no. It was like
knew, yeah.
you knew pretty much right away, and like, not that the information was great,
Right.
but you know, because then it took him forever to be able to get him home, and then like when they were gonna, you know, unplug the machine, it got, you know, like it was supposed to be this time on this day. And the whole family was going to be there, and then the hospital changed that time for like, you know what I mean? It was just like nothing was like going smooth, but it wasn't like we really. Well, Tommy straight up told me that, hey, listen, Nicky was in a bicycle wreck and it's not good. So that was, and then I didn't read anything online, even though people tagged me and everything. But you know, I just had my wife just go and untag me and like all that stuff, just because I don't want to. And we were at a 2-day test, and I didn't test the first day, and just tested a little bit the second day because I'd never been to that track.
You gotta have some laps.
New.
Yeah.
And it was hard, but I knew like just learn the track.
Right.
You know, my team was behind me 100%. Go home, test. You know, whatever. You know, we have a good relationship, so they let me kind of judge what I do because they know I'm straight up with them.
Yeah.
I said, I just want to learn the track. I don't want to test anything. All right, that's all we'll do. And just went out a couple laps. Sometimes I'd have to pull in. Sometimes, you know, I could ride okay, but then I learned the track. And, you know, I don't think I went out the last session because I went home. And, but then when we went back to Pittsburgh, ironically, you get like that weird, like, oh my God, like pulling into the pit. Like, I never really
Because you
had
have
like
such
that,
a bad memory attached to it.
So
eerie.
Kind of, but, and the first day there, I was like, God, I struggled. Like, I barely even made it into Super Pole, which is like top 12 and like a qualifying, go to like a 15-minute qualifier.
Right.
But then on Sunday, I won the race.
Yeah.
And it was just like, you know, like, that was like the biggest relief because I've been trying to win and I was so close, like, since he passed away.
Yeah.
And then finally get that done at Pittsburgh. So that was just, that part was cool. But
was that the first race there for MotoAmerica?
For us, yeah.
Yeah.
But there was definitely, the information wasn't great. You know, it changed every 5 seconds. So like, I didn't really want to update like any of our close friends because I'm afraid it was going to change in 2 hours.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Right. And your word would be the gospel to them.
Yeah,
so
I don't want to be like, oh yeah, it's going to happen tonight, you know. But I mean, we knew right away, and it's tough. And you know, like I said, my dad was in the hospital, but so I was sleeping at the hospital, getting, you know, while trying to sleep, going and riding my bicycle, go home as my sister would come back to the hospital, and then go to the gym or something, then go back to the hospital for like 4 days. So it was like, it was a tough week, but you know what? A lot of people go through tragedy, we ain't the only family. So, you kind of realize that, and, it sucked, but, it's part of life. I can either be pissed and mad and ask why, like you want to at first, or you can just be like, damn, dude, I had a badass brother for 34 years that pushed me. We chased girls. We got in trouble in high school. We pulled over the school bus, coming home from a basketball game, and, we were going to get kicked out, but we had the superintendent's daughter with us,
This sounds very specific, yeah.
So there's no way we were going to get kicked out of school, and somebody pushed me to ride with, and damn, dude, people would die to have that. So yeah, just thankful for what I have and not be, bummed about it, even though it's a bad situation.
Yeah, I was about to say, so here on May 9th, it's almost a year. How you doing?
Good.
Yeah.
Good. It's just, it's a weird knowing that it's been a year, but like every first is like the hardest, kind of like, especially for my parents, like his first birthday.
Right.
We already went through that though.
Yeah.
The first Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
The first Christmas. Sometimes he missed Thanksgiving, but he was always home for Christmas because they weren't doing nothing and
No one
testing or nothing.
Yeah.
So he was always home for Christmas no matter what. Sometimes he missed Thanksgiving, but so actually this year we went to Mexico.
Oh, just to not be at home.
Not be home.
Yeah.
And everybody, my two sisters, mom, dad. And it's hard because my dad's health's not too good. He can't fly. So you could fly straight from Nashville, which is 2 hours away. And it was only like a 2.5 hour flight. So I think it was easier, on them. And so that was cool. And you know what? You gotta make new memories, and it's not going to be easy. And I don't know. It's just, that it's coming up, and now you kind of start to think about it, like, oh God, that year's coming up, and but I just have to. I try not to look too far forward, because I don't want it to run all the days in between. But it's hard not to. You know what I mean? Because because last year I won in Virginia was this coming weekend. I won. We went testing. We were just gonna test on that Wednesday or Thursday, whatever day. And then, so it's like, it's always that Virginia is kind of like the reminder.
Right, yeah.
So
you went to MotoAmerica and you did a tribute lap.
Yeah.
For him with the, big 69 flag
yeah.
and everything.
And they asked me if I wanted to do it or if I wanted somebody else to do it if I didn't feel up for it. But for me personally, if they would have picked maybe somebody, he liked everybody.
Yeah.
But there were some people he didn't really like poser.
Yeah.
There were some people he was a bigger fan of than others.
It's a very nice way of putting it, yes.
So
Poser is not an offensive word.
Yeah, so I didn't want them to be like, pick some dude that maybe
he
thought was a,
somebody worthy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to, and that ain't even open for discussion. I'll do it.
Yeah.
And that was just, why would you want somebody else to take a lap? And and at that point, it was already kind of 2 weeks because we knew from day one.
Yeah.
Not that it was easy, but still, it was kind of 2 weeks into it. So I was kind of, things were getting a little. I've already, went through like the emotion of the roller coaster was already starting to, flatline out at that point. So yeah, that's why. They told me I didn't have to do it, but it's why would I want somebody else to?
Sure. All right, happier times.
So
go ahead.
I'm not one of those people that always wants to post something on Facebook where everybody can like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, because when you finally did post something on Instagram, it was a while afterwards. I remember when we were doing our research, it was like Nicky's Hayden's brother finally speaks out. And I was like, oh, well, maybe he needed some time.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you want to make sure that it's right. You want to make sure that it's it's easy, and it's just there's a lot of. It's a good thing about being. There's good and bad things about being. Well, there's a lot more good than bad being in a small town, but like everybody's there for you no matter what, but at the same time, you can't go anywhere.
Yeah, right.
You know, like,
there is no anonymity.
One day, this was like 2 days after it happened, I went to Starbucks.
After the initial accident or after everything went south? Okay.
After Nicky's accident. And
Okay.
somebody said, are y'all going to transport him to Owensboro Mercy Hospital? And I'm thinking, like, did that just come out of your mouth?
Right, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, nothing against the Owensboro Hospital, but
Yeah.
How about just don't say anything?
Yeah, how about
don't
just leave
say
it alone?
anything,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Or just like
probably not going to
thinking
take
about
him
you
there.
guys.
He's in Italy, you
Yeah,
know what
right,
I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know, like
Yeah.
I don't want to go to Starbucks and, you know, talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even today, some people at the gym still come up, hey, man, I just wanted to, you know, I haven't seen you or whatever. And that's cool. And
Yeah.
it's just people want to be there. People want to help. 90% of the people
Sure.
mean well.
Heart's in the right place.
Yeah, 10% or, you know, say, you know, like, you know, they'll comment on my Instagram like, oh, man, I miss your brother. It's like, okay.
Yeah. And these aren't
Got
necessarily people you know.
Yeah,
Or
I don't even know
yeah.
him, but
Yeah.
it's part of it, but, you know, it's what happens. You know, you have a brother that was loved by a lot of people,
Yeah.
and you don't really realize it until, like, that happens,
Yeah, right.
and it's like,
Yeah.
whoa, like, so many people tuned in to his, you know, live broadcast on his funeral, and it was
Yeah.
like, you know, the funeral preceding line was so long, and it was just like, you know, you don't realize it could, always because it's your brother. Like, the same dude that y'all got to bet, you know, 6 months earlier, and the loser has to, you know, clean the windows at the house in California.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you don't.
He's like, he's just,
So,
he's
so,
just your
so
brother.
I'm seeing him
Yeah.
out there cleaning the windows, and I'm throwing stuff at it, you know, getting it dirty. So
right,
you don't like,
right.
you know what I mean? So you
This
don't
is the
see
same
it.
guy that's like
Yeah.
giving you noogies. You're like, dude,
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill you. Like,
Yeah,
not gonna, yeah.
like, you know what I mean? We're unloading dirt bikes, and his pants are down,
Right,
like,
right, yeah.
here, and like,
Yeah.
you get a picture of his, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Crack, and
Doing
it's
what
like-
brothers do.
So you don't, you know, you don't
Yeah.
see that he was like really like somebody's hero.
Yeah,
So
for sure. For me, he was, because sports car racing is generally dominated by Europeans, you know, because it's kind of a European-based sport. So there's not a lot of Americans, like there's hardly any Americans that actually go to Europe and get to compete. And to see your brother go over there and not only compete, win the championship, that was like the guy for me, just because I'm like, American going to Europe. That doesn't happen in F1, you know, it doesn't happen really in anything. Since the accident, have you and Tommy become closer, or were we already super
we
close
were already
anyway?
pretty close, and probably at the time we would cycle periodically together.
Mhm.
But we were like, you know, I was like always inviting him more, and you know, like, of course you don't want to take the guy out, and then you and somebody else who's in really good shape are going to go at it that day, and it's like, oh man, dude, sorry about that, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that he's out of shape, but he's not like,
He's not
dead.
training to
yeah,
race.
he's not training
yeah.
to race. So, but yeah, I think it makes you appreciate everybody in your family a lot more. And like, one thing you always hear people say, you don't know what tomorrow is. You don't know, you know, be careful, or, you know, be careful what you say to somebody. And it's like, whatever, yeah, I've heard that my whole life. And then it's like, you get a phone call like that, and it's like, oh my God, you know, you read about it, you see about it, but you never picture yourself when you get on Instagram and you hit the search thing, like every single thing is like, don't give up, Nick. Like you don't ever, like, I've seen it my whole life in motorsports, because they're always praying for somebody, but
sure,
you don't.
but it's never your brother.
But yeah, you don't
Yeah,
ever
yeah, yeah.
expect that.
Yeah.
So it was that part was like kind of weird, but definitely you know, my brother Tommy, he's going through like all the, you know, they're having a statue put in
I was
Owensboro.
gonna bring that up. Yeah.
The 8th of June.
I thought it was the 9th.
Well, the 9th is Nicky Hayden Day.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, 10-4. Yeah,
So,
because that would be 6-9.
Yeah, 6-9.
18. It's pretty cool.
So the night of the, they have like a big music thing downtown, and they're gonna unveil it on Friday.
Yeah.
And then 6-9 is gonna be is Nicky Hayden Day.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's
awesome.
works out pretty good, especially because I don't have a race that weekend.
Yeah.
So I'll be home, and
And it's supposed to be a permanent
yeah, it's
monument
gonna be
they're
there
gonna build, right?
for sure,
Yeah.
forever. And it's you know, it's kind of cool when you see how some of that stuff goes into, like, you read like what the caption says, and you're like, oh my God, you got to change that caption. It's terrible. But then somebody's like, no, dude, it's for people who come and visit Owensboro that don't know who he is.
Yeah.
So you have to
You think about that,
yeah, you're not explaining it to you or
Right,
you
exactly,
know exactly
yeah.
who it is as soon as you see it.
yeah.
Yeah,
We
but
do that with the show sometimes. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But you go down there to somebody. We have different events now. We have a big convention center down there now, and there's different stuff. Like people will come there for that. You know, they're walking around because they really did spend a lot of money on our waterfront, and so yeah, it's for that. So you kind of like, I don't know, you learn more about what real stuff is outside of what
Right.
you just expect.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
it's kind of cool.
So motorcycle riders are known for, like, you know, injuries and massive crashes. There's a picture of you from 5 days ago, upside down, still on a bike, which like incredible. And like your arms have scars on them. You're missing your pinky. Do you have metal in you right now? Like you have any?
No.
No, you're.
To be honest, I have like my forearms didn't get hurt, but we get like really bad arm pump.
Okay.
So they go in there and they have that. Motocross guys have it.
Yeah.
So they go in there and they cut this sack, like infatuotomy or something it's called.
Yeah, so okay, let's go back a step because I'm gonna argue a lot of our friends may not just naturally know what arm pump is.
Yeah.
Well, that's like when the forearm muscle gets so tight. And
just
like
from all the riding and the braking
like,
and the
mainly
throttle
'cause
control.
We're braking like
Yeah.
that. You basically lose like all the strength in your hand. You know what I mean? Like you can hardly. Some people get it so bad where they can't like go back and
Right.
shut the throttle off.
Oh God.
So they go in and they like release the muscle where it can expand more and not get so tight. I had it done a
So
long
they
time
literally
ago.
cut the muscle.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
that scar is
Yeah.
right there. That's from them opening you
Yeah.
up to alter your body physically so you can do the sport that you do.
Yeah,
That is fucking intense.
yeah, both of them actually.
Yeah.
And I've had this one done twice.
So like for the for the race car driver out there that gets a little too hot and doesn't have his cool suit on that day and bitches about it, I can remind him that Roger Hayden had his arms cut open and snipped
So that he could
so he
keep
could
braking.
keep riding his motorcycle.
And then like
And that's common. That's a total normal thing.
that's a total normal thing. And besides that, I mean, I broke my ankle once, my wrist, and oh yeah,
You break your pelvis a few
my
times.
pelvis,
Yeah.
back and pelvis.
The afterthought was the
Well, Because
and
of the, because like every time I get hurt, I always try to look for the bright side of
Yeah,
it. I
sure.
guess because like when I lost my pinky, and then I broke my back and pelvis in the same. I didn't have to have surgery.
That was all from the same accident, right?
Yeah, somebody ran in the back of me actually.
who?
I- Yeah, I know who it was, but
It's Johnny Rock Page.
no, I'm surprised it wasn't. But I don't have like some crazy back pain today,
Right.
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh my god, I'm glad
Yeah,
that was all it
right.
was. But you know, my pinky
I was
doesn't.
to say,
even,
like losing a digit. Like
yeah, at first it freaks you out.
yeah, I bet.
But like,
At first, you get used
Then
to
you
it.
get
but now
used
it's like, well, I'd rather have that than like broke my shoulder or something that every morning I'm like, oh my god, my shoulder.
That's it. Do you have any like the old man pains that you shouldn't have at 34?
No,
Yeah.
I mean there's some days you wake up sore, but I don't know if that's from like
You also train like crazy.
yeah,
so
I
you're
don't know if
probably
that's from
sore
like
anyway.
training, but yeah, I mean definitely some days is not real fresh,
Yeah.
but it is what it is.
So, the mustache. What's the deal?
That's about the only place I can grow hair at on my face.
Because
is
it's a good looking mustache. You don't really have it right now. You just got like a
No.
couple
Yeah, it is.
day
No,
growth.
but
Right,
I
looking
need
okay.
you gotta give me like at least a good month.
Yeah, but like I've seen the mustache. It comes in
Yeah.
pretty nice.
Pretty good. That's it. I just can't. I want like a real beard,
Oh hell yeah. Yeah.
but like it just right here is real slow, and then right here, like right on the side of my chin, it just doesn't come in.
I think you just go full mustache, man.
Yeah, just do it.
literally
Just
get
own
that
Every
it.
thing.
time I have a mustache,
Just
dude,
own
that
it.
race weekend, I've never had a good
Oh
weekend.
yeah. So I don't
okay.
shave on race days because every time I've shaved on race morning, I have a bad day.
Where's the wife on any of this?
She doesn't really.
She's
I
cool
don't
with whatever.
think she loves the mustache per
Yeah.
se.
Well, you are under 50, so
So she, but she don't.
she's okay with it.
She's okay with it.
Okay.
She's not too.
Is she a motorcycle person?
Not really.
Yeah.
But I did teach her. I have a Grom, like a scooter.
I now know what that is.
A Honda Grom,
A
if
Honda
you will.
Grom, yeah.
We were talking on the way here. It's like, what's that? I'm like, dude.
Yeah. So
So a Grom is, for those who don't know, is like a little mini bike.
All
that-
of our fans are going to know what a Honda Grom is.
Okay, except for like the
No one. They all
PR
know.
guy.
They all know.
It's like a little mini bike you can run around the paddock. But go on.
and she was like, I want to learn how to ride the Grom.
And she wasn't like a motorcycle rider or anything.
No,
like that.
she wasn't a
Just,
motorcycle
okay.
rider. So This is how she learned. I got on the back, got her on the front. We did one lap on our little, we had like a TT track.
Wait, so the two of you were on this thing?
Yeah, it seats 2.
Okay.
And then I was like, okay, you ready for me to teach you? She's like, yeah. I just jumped off the bike.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
He's like, here you go.
Yeah. And you know what I mean? And she's like,
How'd that
what are you
go?
doing? Like, like this, but
She's riding.
she
Then she
figured
did
it.
it.
She figured it out.
We've learned a lot of motorcycle racers don't really ride motorcycles on the street. Are you in that category?
I'm in that car. I don't
Yeah.
ride on the street, period.
Yeah.
Do you have,
Just
do you have a
people.
bike in your garage?
Honda Grom.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Interesting.
And that's just for getting around
That's
the
just
property.
like the I ride it up, take
Yeah.
my nieces up here to this Big Dipper right beside you.
Yeah.
By the way, it'll blow in and out of the water.
Big Dipper.
Yeah.
Okay. Damn it. Is that like a Kentucky stable?
I just went back to the
Yes.
buffet.
So that's about as far as it. It's a registry
Yeah.
if I did.
Yeah.
take-
Well, you don't have to race for another week, so.
No, I'm good. I can go heavy. I'm just
Yeah,
not
we can
hungry.
go big.
That's
Okay.
a problem.
When I go to a race,
Yeah.
I don't ever have to think about a car.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I don't ever have to think about a stop sign. I don't ever have to think about a stoplight.
Yeah.
I don't have to think about gravel. I don't have to think about anything.
Just something
Besides,
on
and
the
when I
road,
get
yeah.
on there, all I think about is like going as fast as I can.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was 18, Honda gave Nicky a street bike, or he had one. But I remember like just riding it and like looking down, going 80, and,
Yeah.
and I thought, what the hell, dude? I'm in 30
So many
miles.
ways you can go south.
I'm
Yeah.
35 mile an hour speed limit.
And
I
you're
didn't
just
even,
going 80.
I didn't even
Yeah.
realize,
Right.
Yeah.
that I'm like, dude, I'm gonna either get a ticket
Yeah.
for one, go
Yeah.
to jail, and then I don't know. You just
You just know
start
what can
getting a
happen.
little.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't like having to look around all the time. I
Sure.
was just like, this ain't,
Right.
this ain't
Not
for
worth it.
me. Wasn't fun enough.
Juice
Yeah.
didn't equal the squeeze.
Yeah.
Is there a plan for post driving or riding career?
No, not yet.
Yeah.
I've, I don't know, sometimes I think about it, but then I'm like, it starts to freak me out because I'm like, I don't know if that's a bad sign.
Right. Thinking
Like-
that way.
Oh, you
Yeah.
don't want to think about it
Yeah.
after
Yeah,
it's all
like-
over.
like-
Yeah, yeah.
Like, does that mean I'm ready?
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
You got to do the Roger Hayden helmet, like the signature helmet. You can get
Oh,
all the
yeah.
dealerships and live off the helmet money.
That's the plan.
Yeah, we're living off podcast money, so
Yeah.
we get it.
We're so rich.
Yeah.
Was that y'all's Ferrari out front?
It was an Acura NSX, I believe.
Ah.
It was an Acura NSX.
We had two.
Sir.
We had two of them. We had two NSXs out there.
Yeah.
And our assistants in a third.
Right. Yeah. Johnny Rock Page is
Johnny
in our
Rock
third.
Page is
He's in
driving
our
the third.
third.
Yeah.
Your number 95. Is there significance to the number?
I just thought there was some dude when I was had to pick a number.
Yeah.
I was everybody ran 69 in our family. That
Sure.
was my dad's
Yeah.
number. That was my first year pro. I was one. You had to be 3-digit, so I was 169.
Right.
And there was some dude named number 95. I thought it looked good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, like that's
And
it.
I'm like,
Yeah.
damn,
And
dude.
was 69 your dad's number just for the reasons that
Well,
everyone likes that
he
number?
says because he crashed all the time and his bike was always upside down, and he still knew where.
I'm not buying that for a second.
And he still knew where his bike was, because the
Okay.
number never
Well-
changed. So
Because you're here, we'll just accept that.
I wonder if I can use it.
His
that's
GT3 number
that's
is
his
69.
story.
Yeah,
Okay.
I raced a 69 in the NSX, so
Oh.
I'm going to use the upside down joke
Yeah.
if,
There
that,
you
if
go.
that ever becomes a reality.
exactly.
Like, guys,
It's come on. Yeah.
do you know who ran number 269?
Yes, you do.
I have no
It's been a
idea.
subject of conversation.
Johnny Rock.
Johnny
Oh,
Rock
yeah.
Page. You guys
Not
should have sued him on that.
surprised. Yeah,
like,
you should.
Go to the series.
Yeah.
No, shut this
No,
down.
yeah.
Shut this
How
down
long
right
ago
now.
was that? Oh, actually, I didn't know that.
Yeah, when we were looking him up because we're horrible people. It was like, oh no,
Yeah.
oh he did not. He did not.
He
do
thought
that.
he did.
Yeah. Not to harp on Nicky, but one of the things I was really impressed to find out, like when you said he didn't drink, and your dad had an interview about this, which I thought was really neat. And this is something that I think any aspiring athlete, yourself obviously, you're on that page, work ethic. The legend goes, your brother wins the MotoGP championship, he comes home and then he kicks you out of bed to go running.
The next morning, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and that was
awesome.
just like, honestly, that's just the way he was training came
How you become a world champion.
before fun. Like,
Yeah.
like we'd be on vacation or go to the river one day. He ran first, then we went track. You know what I mean? I was just like,
He put in the work every day.
he put in the work and he loved it, and that's just, and when, yeah, he won the world championship the next morning, woke me up, so let's go running. And also, we talked about it earlier, I didn't know how big he was until like after, well, I mean, I knew how big he was, but how many people touched. But the first time I went to Spain with him when he won the world championship, no, actually I went the year before to Valencia. And like,
Because of the Repsol stuff?
no, the race.
Oh, okay,
the
just for the
race.
race itself. Okay.
But like everywhere we went, like everybody knew who he was. And I'm
Yeah.
like how like a real famous person would be here in
Sure.
the U.S.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, damn, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Everybody's like staring and taking
Right.
pictures. But when we went running that day after we won the world championship, people, so many horns.
Oh, no
honking,
way.
Like, hey,
Yeah,
good
yeah.
job, Nicky, and all this
Yeah.
stuff. And it was
Yeah.
like,
That's
you know,
amazing.
while we're running.
Yeah,
It ain't
right.
like we had American flag tank tops on.
Yeah, they
and-
had to recognize his face.
Yeah, you know,
as
and we
this-
didn't have like
yeah.
Nicky
The I'm a
Hayden
world
t-shirt.
champion
Yeah.
T-shirt
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
given away,
What is it?
but,
Suck it.
Yeah. So that was cool. But yeah, his work ethic was, and it's always been like that.
Yeah.
And
So we do a pass-along question from all of our guests, and our last guest was Joseph Newgarden, who won the IndyCar Championship last year. And we didn't have a clue who our next guest was going to be at that time. But the question is, dear next person, from Joseph Newgarden, what made you decide to come on Dinner with Racers?
We called.
Well, you could have
Yeah,
blown it. You
I
could have
mean-
said, like, screw you guys, I'm out. Like,
I just,
Because I assume you've like never heard of us or knew anything
No,
about what we were doing.
it's
It's cool.
'cause-
It's fine.
now that I'm like 34, 35, like I'm really all about promoting my sport.
Yeah.
that's good.
And you know how I was talking about how the economy, like it's coming back,
Yeah.
but it's not at the level I think that it should be.
You're right.
Yeah.
And people who love motorcycle races are going to come to the race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're trying to get like,
People that don't know about
Say
it.
people who
People don't
love
know.
sports car racing or
Yeah.
IndyCar
Right.
racing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
that
should
don't-
check out MotoAmerica.
I'll
yeah,
tell
they
you what.
might check it
Yeah.
out. And you know, I thought, hey, why not? You know,
Okay.
I just want to. I feel lucky to have this job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To promote the sport,
Absolutely,
this and that.
exactly.
And it could be a lot worse. So.
Yeah.
That very same road course you watched World Challenge Series at.
Yeah. Bleep out the
You
title.
can watch MotoAmerica. Our next guest tomorrow is going to be lunch with James Hinchcliffe. And if there was any one question you could ask of James Hinchcliffe, what would it be?
I have to think about
Yeah,
it.
we can come back to
Yep.
this. So,
Yep. Do you know what the phrase BOP means?
No idea.
Balance of performance?
Never heard of it.
Thank God. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ruin your day. What would happen if you and Tony went out and won the next 4 races in a row and finished 1-2? What would happen to your bike from the series? Would they add weight to it?
Nothing.
Nothing. Interesting. What would happen if you did that all again next year and you won like every single race?
Or if like the Honda guys came and kicked your ass.
Yeah.
They would maybe try to do something, but we build our bikes around the rules.
What a concept.
So in other words, Honda starts kicking your ass. Your job is to go faster.
Yes.
Huh.
and your team and your factory are supposed to
Yeah.
get their shit together and
Yeah.
make
Weird.
it better.
That's a weird
Okay.
concept.
But not every, they could.
Is that common? Have they done that? You gotten like a obvious like weight penalty,
Penalty or
No,
Power
not,
restriction.
not in Superbike. Some of the smaller classes they do. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But in the big professional top level, they
No,
go
they've
get your
never-
together,
Yeah.
do your job. Interesting.
Let me ask you this. So MotoAmerica racing, I think, is awesome. I mean, you guys, there's so much lap-to-lap passing, so much battling. How bad, when you make a run a guy, is the arrow push?
There's none.
What? How dare you? Interesting.
So you can just run right up on someone's ass through a corner.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
Suzuki PR. So like
yeah.
so like automotive PR, they're very much about like you must be a robot depending on the manufacturer. Honda is fantastic.
Yeah, they're great with that.
Motorcycles branding wise tend to be a little bit more aggressive on how they're allowed to be perceived. What is like are people monitoring your tweets? Do you have to be careful what you say? Like you're here and we didn't have to get any approvals.
Yeah, Suzuki's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
But they do monitor. Somebody does look at all that.
Like you can't say something completely stupid, but
Yeah.
like are we gonna have to send this to somebody and get like 16 rounds of notes?
No, I don't think so.
He's like,
Because for one, I don't like. Because once you do that,
Yeah, then you're in the system.
then you're like waiting. For
Oh, right.
And then
Yeah.
you're waiting.
Yeah,
It's
we-
like, well, you should have said this. and
Are you
should have
saying
said
PR
that.
people are slow and useless?
No, I'm just saying that
You can.
I would rather ask for forgiveness.
Good man.
Yeah, that's
That
the
is the
way.
100% the way
I'm
you should
planning
do
on
it.
they're not
Yeah.
going to hear it, and if they
Yeah.
do, oh man, I meant to send you that, but I was in so
Yeah.
much going on.
We've had several
Yeah.
Penske drivers on, and they were notoriously in the past like the most policed people,
Yeah.
and they literally don't even listen to them anymore.
Yeah.
They go, "Yeah, we're sure it's fine."
Yeah.
We're like,
Yeah.
"Are
They
you
could care
sure?
less,
Like,
yeah.
are you sure it's fine? We're not sure it's fine."
But meanwhile, we had a NASCAR driver who literally there was like 18 bullet points on the things we had to fix.
Yeah, they wanted
and they
us-
weren't that bad.
Yeah,
So-
we're like, "No, you're wrong on this."
Yeah,
No, they're pretty.
they're cool.
They're cool.
All right.
Okay, so tomorrow we're going to be having lunch with James Hinchcliffe, who is a IndyCar driver. He's also one of the most personable and probably friendly drivers in the
Dancing
in the
with the
series.
Stars,
Yeah, Dancing with the
runner-up.
Stars. Like, just if there any question you'd ever want to ask him, what would it be?
I wonder what makes him like more nervous: start of a race or start of one of the Dancing with the Stars.
Boom.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because it can't be easy getting out there dancing in front
Oh,
of a
God,
bunch of
no.
damn people.
National
yeah.
television.
Yeah.
Yeah.
National television and that stuff is like. It's
But
hard to do
racing
that
is
stuff.
like your passion. Where
You're
you
good
want
at
to
that.
succeed,
You're good at
maybe
that.
so you
Yeah.
still get the.
All right. Yeah.
But he's had a lifetime of experience to get ready for an IndyCar race.
Yeah.
Dancing with the Stars is a routine he learned 3 days ago. So
Right. Do you get nervous?
Yeah,
Are you ever scared?
not scared.
Are you scared of being slow or failing?
Scared of bad start,
Right.
maybe a bad tire.
Right.
Like, is this one jackass gonna just keep stuffing us and
something bad.
slow
Right.
up the pace?
Right.
Like, after the third lap,
Right.
I'm
You're
all
good.
right.
Yeah. Netflix queue.
Yeah. What do you got?
My wife has Netflix. You want to know what I watch all the time?
Yes.
Yes, we do. Just porn.
You're gonna laugh at me.
Porn.
No, not porn.
Okay.
Well.
Live PD.
Oh no, that show's great. Live PD.
I don't know what that is.
It's live cops. It's cops live.
Oh,
Wait,
it's
they're
what?
just like broadcasting.
How
live?
do you don't know what live PD is?
I really don't. I'm
Dude.
sorry.
Oh,
I hear I claim
man.
to be a TV guy.
Dude,
I don't.
I
don't.
love. That's what.
So it's
that's
cops, but they're just transmitting it.
It's live, and they
No,
have.
they're in the car with the cops live. It's
But
like
it's-
it's not edited.
It's the show Cops.
like,
but
no, I
live.
get what
Yeah.
you- I
It's
understand
called Live
everything
PD.
you're saying.
Let me say it one more time.
Everything is clear, but like the producer in me immediately goes to legal. Like, how is that legal?
It's probably not live.
Okay.
But what they
Okay.
have is there's like a production.
So they make it look live. Oh, I see what you're saying. And there's like live
crews
camera switching.
all over the place.
What city is this in?
It's all over the place.
Oh,
so
no.
they're like,
Six
okay, we
different
got somebody over in
So
Santa
there's
Fe
just
right
like
now.
a broadcast team in Sheboygan,
Multiple
and
states.
one in
Yeah.
Owensboro,
all
and
over
one
the
in Los
country.
Angeles.
Yeah.
And literally they go back to like
And
these,
they're like, oh, excitement's going on here. Switch
exactly,
to that team.
exactly. We got this guy
Yeah.
getting pulled over. Let's see if there's anything to it.
How long is this? Like a 24-hour thing?
No, it's
well,
on like 3 hours every Friday and Saturday.
He knows.
Yeah. Oh no, it's a
Oh,
big
dude,
it's a
I-
big deal. Like people in my Twitter feed will be quoting one-liners from the show with hashtag live PD, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
And then I started watching. It's fantastic. And now the cops, because they use a lot of the same cops, they've gotten to have a little bit of a personality and a following.
Okay.
So they're kind of hamming it
So
up
now
even
they're being
more. But they're
yeah.
cops.
Yeah.
So they're either okay at it or terrible.
Or-
but either way, it's still good.
Okay.
But
Now they switched to a bunch of different
a new host
new
cops.
cast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it.
The last couple
Okay.
months.
There's a couple good guys on there.
But I like cop shows. I don't know why. Like that's my
Okay.
No.
like Drug Wars.
I haven't seen that. Is that good?
Nah, like First 48 is really good.
First 48
Yeah,
is awesome.
that's pretty good.
Yeah, that gave me nightmares.
But it's kind of like I don't know. I just like the
Live PD is.
Okay.
it's
Yeah,
awesome.
I seriously have never heard.
Oh, that's
okay.
like your whole night tonight planned out.
What show does your wife watch that you're supposed to not like, but secretly you kind of like it? Top Chef, Below Deck,
Desperate Housewives.
Desperate Housewives.
no. You
You're like,
know,
I actually don't mind that.
Dr. Phil.
Oh,
okay.
Well,
Dude.
that was going so well.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
She records Dr. Phil, and then it's playing, and I'm always like,
I love
and then,
Dr.
and then,
Phil.
and then I'm hooked. Like I just watch. I just want to see.
You're like, the doc's got a good point on that one,
Yeah.
guys.
Well, it's such a good scheme because he basically just says the most obvious thing, but with like a determined Southern accent. It's all good. So like, Ryan gave me a problem.
Herpes.
Okay, that's not an actual psychological problem. Roger, give me a problem.
Loneliness.
Yeah.
Y'all need to make friends. Solved it. And everyone, and then you like, and then there's like you single tear, and everyone starts clapping. I never thought about that. He needs to make friends.
And then he just like comes and fixes these families that are like just a disaster in an hour.
Right. By just saying obvious.
Whip this up real quick, guys.
Yeah.
We're going to get you all turned
Yeah.
around. 15
Yeah.
years of anguish and pain amongst you.
Yeah,
We got an
We
hour.
got this in 1 hour from this.
Yeah, but you watch this and you think, oh my God, how can these people be so stupid?
If there was a if there's a Hayden family legacy that you would want to leave behind, and keep in mind that most of our followers are probably primarily road, like car racing, what would you want to leave behind as the Hayden family legacy? Because you're representing everybody here.
Yeah. I guess the legacy would just, I don't know, I'd want to be remembered more than, racers, like good people.
Yeah.
Good family people, not just, 3 brothers who were successful racers.
Right. Where can we follow you? Since we're bringing you like hundreds.
Yeah.
Thousands, hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, thousands. Yeah,
Thousands,
hundreds and thousands maybe.
Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah.
Roger Hayden 95, and then I have a Facebook fan page.
Yeah.
Just Roger Hayden fan
Cool.
page.
And then what is your home mailing address, just for the fans listening?
Just for the wedding gifts.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
That's
Yeah,
smart.
yeah, yeah.
That's smart. There you go.
Is there like an Amazon registry people can buy you stuff?
No,
Porn stars do it all the time.
I was going to say that's like a thing now.
That's a thing
with
that
the
porn
internet
stars
celebrities.
do.
Yeah.
Or Roger Hayden.
Yeah.
I should have did that, but no, we didn't.
Okay, fair enough.
Awesome, man.
All right. Well, Continental's got the check.
I'm finished.
All right, Roger Hayden. What'd you think, Ryan?
Love me some Roger Hayden.
Guy was awesome.
Thanks again to Acura and, of course, Continental Tire and Roger for giving us such a great interview. Play the song, Sean.
Next is a band called Station, and you can find them at their own website, stationband.com, stationband.com. They're also available on Bandcamp. Here is a song called I Won't Break Your Heart. Ciao.
She's moving slow. You see it in her eyes, although her eyes are closed. And she don't